Hi everybody, it's Dr. Dan Puperi again. So I've put the first problem for this course on the Canvas website. I'm going to make a set of videos that sort of address that assignment, but really I want to take you through more about setting up your Python script. And so for this type of problem, where we're calculating a prime number, we're going to use a programming style called functional programming. Okay, and so that means we're going to be programming by thinking about what functions or what things you need to do to accomplish. And then you program those functions into your script, whether you use actual functions or whether you just do certain commands in order, those that perform a quote-unquote function. Okay, and so that's in contrast to something you might have heard as object-oriented program, where object-oriented program you create objects and they behave with the properties that you assign the objects. So most of the time for engineering, though, you're going to use functional programming. And so Python actually has both functional and object-oriented programming built in. So we're going to think about functional programming. And so we're going to think about how we're going to break up this problem. And so you've already seen breaking up scripts into functions. That's kind of what I showed you with importing on previous videos. And so let's just take a little bit closer look about what a script will look like. And so I have right now my Sublime text open. I have my Cygwin command prompt open. I also have my PowerShell where I'm going to have my interactive Python. And so just let's see where we're at. So, okay, so in my Cygwin, I'm in my Cygwin home directory where I have my previous Python files that were remade. So in PowerShell, I want to make sure I go to that directory. And so that is under Cygwin, home, dp, my username. Okay, and so now I can start Python interactive mode in that directory. Okay, so we want to look a little closer about what your script will look like and how it will be laid out. So we go to Sublime Text. The one thing we want to make sure, remember, you always want to have your indentation using spaces. I'm also going to set the syntax to be Python so it does syntax highlighting. But we can start out, let's just start out by defining a global variable. I'm going to call it global_var. I'll set it to 4 for lack of a better thing. Okay, and so now we also maybe want to define a function. So I'm going to just define one called f. I'm going to say you're going to pass it a variable x. Okay, and all we'll do in this function is print x. And then we'll go ahead and print global var. What we want to see is that when we put something in the global space, that means outside of a function, it's available to all functions. Okay, and so that's why we call it global. It's globally available. And so we're going to prove that when we call f, we're going to see we can print global var. Okay, and so now we can go ahead and call the function f, and we'll give it an argument of 1. So we'll pass x in there. Okay, so let's save this. Okay, I have to go to Cygwin, home, my home directory. I'll call this test.py. Okay, and so now if we look here, the test.py is there. Okay, and so now we can run this script from the command prompt. And you guys should already know in your head what's going to happen when I run this script. Okay, and so it prints 1 because we assigned the value of x to 1 when we called the function. It prints 4, which is the value of our global variable. Okay, so that's exactly what we expected. But now let's go ahead and look. What would happen? Okay, we want to use these global var and f in another script. And so let's try to import test in our interactive mode. So if we import test, we see it also runs and produces this 1 and 4 output. Remember, that's not normally the expected behavior, because if we import another module like math, right, it doesn't spit out anything. What's actually going on is we didn't want this to happen, but because we put this call to f in here, when we import it, it's actually doing that call to f. Okay, and so we actually want to not do that, because that's not what we expected to happen. We just want to access f in global var. We didn't want it to see these numbers. But when we ran the script, maybe we did want to see these numbers. Okay, so when we ran from the command line. So there's one way we can control this behavior. And the way we can control this behavior is this statement here. If underscore underscore name underscore underscore equals underscore underscore main underscore underscore, then we want to call f. Okay, so what's going on here? So what's happening is when you run the script from the command line, this very special variable called underscore underscore name underscore underscore is being set to a string underscore underscore main underscore underscore. Okay? And so when you import it, that variable is not being set to main. But when we want to run it from the command line, it is. So let's try running like this instead. So we save the script. And so now we'll run it from the command line. Okay, and it still does what we expect. It still prints out 1 and 4. But now if we import test in our interactive mode, it no longer runs that f because it's not running this block of code because name does not equal main. So that's ignored. And now the script is behaving as we expect, both from the command line and from when we import it.